because I do 1,300 crunches and sit-ups 4 times a week.
What's a dose? Can you translate for us?
Winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Ernie Els.
Welcome back to the Go Track podcast. It is a podcast about golf and golf adjacent stuff, mainly from South Africa. It is Tuckbox here, leading the way. I'm captaining the side. It is just a 2-ball today. And the man that's joining me, it's Hoff Dog. Hoff?
The vice captain.
The vice captain, the VC of the Go Track. We could probably say that we keep this place afloat.
We keep the adjacent content afloat.
Someone's got to do it, and that is what we are going to be doing. We are going to be adjacent again today. You didn't ask for our rugby podcast. We gave it to you. You didn't ask for a rugby review podcast, but we're going to give it to you anyway.
100%. 100%. You don't like our takes. We don't really care, but we're gonna keep on giving them.
We will keep on giving you the hottest of hot takes about the Springboks and rugby in general in South Africa. We're going to be reviewing the Springbok end of year tour. We did a preview. Hoff did ask about our scores, and I can't remember, but we must have got all of them right.
We definitely got the results right, Tucky. I'm not so sure about the score lines. I know I definitely got the France result wrong. I obviously selected that we would win, but I distinctly remember saying we would win by 1 point, and that was very incorrect.
I don't think we got.
But I'd like to back our predictions there in most of them. I think we probably got closest one was probably Wales, which was the easiest to predict. But we'll need to go back and rate our predictions properly, I think.
Yeah, we will, or we'll ask you guys to let us know if you can remember what our score predictions were. But
there we go, yeah.
That Wales test, absolute dead rubber, so unnecessary, and now our most capped international could be on the sidelines for a very long time. Ebenezabeth, that red fucking card.
A red card with 90 seconds to go in a test match outside of the window against, what are they, the 13th, 14th best team in the world? And from a Sharks perspective, hurts even more because I'm pretty sure he's going to be on the sidelines for quite some time.
He is gone. He is gone for a long time.
Oh, bad look, and I think the frustrating thing there is the headlines should have been about the performance, obviously, and typical Northern Hemisphere rugby media, everything is just about that incident.
Yeah. The guy's got one of the cleanest records. He might be unbelievably hard on the field and probably a lot of the time is on the edge.
Yeah.
But has got very, very few cards.
100%.
Not a dirty
I don't know how accurate it is, but I saw a post on Instagram this morning saying I think his last official disciplinary at international levels like 2012.
And he was young and hot-headed back then. Well, he's still hot-headed, but he was a lot younger.
Yeah. Look, it's so difficult. I mean, you pause the image like we've seen and it's not a good look. It really isn't a good look. And I think eye gouging is like one of those, like, just don't go there kind of things.
Eye gouging and biting. Those
biting, eye gouging.
And ball grabbing.
Correct. So it's not a good look. Look, there have been subsequent images which seem to indicate that he might have been eye gouged first, but I actually think that makes it worse because if it ends up being that he was eye gouged, so he reacted by eye gouging, then that's like an intentional act. You know, I'd prefer it to have just been, I was hot-headed. I grabbed the oak's face. I didn't mean to eye gouge him. It just slipped into his eye, you know.
My finger
rather than
mistake.
like he eye gouged me, so I eye gouged him. But yeah, look, not a good look. But I'm glad that we're chatting about that first, so that we can get the negativity out the way, and we can, you know, talk about some serious positives from an epic Autumn Nations.
Yeah. Let's keep on that card track, but it obviously is a negative that was turned into a pretty big positive. That in 2 of the matches on the tour, we got red cards in the first half and still managed to win, especially in that France game. And that Italy game 2 could have been a massive, massive banana skin
It felt like one.
Looked like it was going that way.
Geez, like, what a tough watch. It really was. I mean, like, basically a B team, possibly a C team, with a man down for the entire game. Italy were pretty, hyped up and having a go at us, and I just thought, oh my goodness, we've dropped the ball on this one. But, I think at the end of the day, it pretty much shows our strength and depth, that we were able to field not our strongest side by any stretch and have a permanent red card, which was absolute bullshit. And we still managed to get the job done. And at the end, relatively comfortably, although that's probably like the closest we came to losing on the entire tour.
Yeah.
It was against an Italian team that did beat Australia.
Yeah. But Jesus, if there's one team that has gone backwards, it's the Wallabies. Holy hell.
The Wobblies.
Jeez, they have, from that win in Joburg, they have gone into reverse.
I mean, they've had like 13,000 fly halves play in the last 6 months, So it's such a difficult one with Australia, to be perfectly honest, because they've got no depth. Their rugby is not in a good place. But I think Joe Schmidt has made a difference there. He has improved things, but now he's gone. So it's up to the next guy to take over probably the most difficult job in world rugby, outside of England maybe, to try and get those oaks firing before a home World Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, they performed really well against the Lions, let's be honest, apart from the first test, which was a disaster. But second and third tests, performed really well. Joburg, obviously, and then full-blown collapse at the end of the year.
Jeez. Well, let's talk Boks. Let's talk end of year tour. 5 out of 5 for the Springboks, going through those results. First game was Japan, beat them 61-7. Then France, 32-17, unbelievable win. Then Italy, 32-14. Then Dublin, the chaos of Dublin, 24-13 against Ireland, and then finishing it off with that 73-0 rout of Wales. Hoff, what would you say out of those, let's say the three, let's take the 3 middle games, France, Italy, and Ireland. Which one do you think was the most significant?
Look, I'm not, definitely not the Italy game. Yeah. That was a difficult one. I think that was just sort of testing our strength and depth. And boy, was it tested. But for me, it came down to that Irish game. I think the Irish game, I mean, you said it there. I mean, pure chaos. What a weird test match. Definitely the weirdest test match I've ever watched. But I think a lot of people have overlooked simply the fact that we won. I mean, our record in Dublin has not been good. And a win is a win. And a lot of people are looking at it and saying, the Irish this and the Irish that and the cards and the ref. And I mean, simply put, Tucky, that was a show of sheer dominance. The biggest physical dismantling from one tier 1 nation of another tier 1 nation I have ever seen. I mean, it was insane. 13, Ireland did well to keep it to that scoreline, but to be honest, I think we got bored. We dismantled them and then we kind of just got scrappy. We should have won that game by 20, 30 points. There's no doubt about it. And credit to Ireland for going down to 12 men and still putting up a fight. But was the fight not based on them being offside all the time? And, the scrum and all of those kinds of things. I mean, rubber the green wise, they're all complaining about the number of yellow cards. There should have been more yellow cards.
Yeah. I think when you have a side that is that dominant in a game like that and it's that close, I don't see how on earth they managed to keep themselves in that game.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they managed to still put us under pressure with 12 players on the field. Look, the Springboks are the best side in the world. They should be able to score multiple tries against 12 players. Obviously, the time, there might have only been a 3-minute period where they had 12 players on the field. That, for us to have not taken control, and just put the game to bed in that period, even when they had 13 and 14, I felt that's the one thing that I just was a little bit.
Yeah, it felt a little bit empty.
Yeah, that was
it was yes, we've won. And I think that's why it's so difficult. And that's why we're all overlooking the result. That we won a test match in Dublin.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. And we destroyed them physically. That was super impressive. I mean, you read all the headlines now. The Oaks are all talking about trying to get World Rugby to change the rules, you know? That's how dominant we were. I mean, that scrum was insane. And we did the right thing by not taking the points and letting them off the hook.
Well,
we
that's
just
the
took
other
a
thing.
scrum, and it was the right thing. And I loved every single second of what was the longest test match I've ever watched in my entire life. Felt like an NFL game. And that's probably a negative, but I don't think they can complain. And I know that they are complaining,
But I think
I really don't think that they can complain, Tucky. I mean, who gets a penalty try awarded against them and not a yellow card?
Yeah, very rarely.
You know, I mean, there were so many instances, so many penalties that built up that finally, I mean, I think we were offside once, got a yellow card. They were offside like 3-4 times before they got carded. And they were consistently and continuously offside. So yeah, you've got to give them credit for hanging in there. And I actually think we played poorly, to be honest, and still won 24-13.
Yeah, and I think in a situation like that, like the Springboks side have become a team, I think, that have been so structured in the first half. In the first 40 minutes, you will see a team kick high balls, contest in the air, play for territory. And the second half is where we have just absolutely rinsed teams. And that is
slow poison.
That is where we've just put people to the sword. And I felt that I was waiting for that, and it never quite happened in that game. And I don't know whether it was because it was so disjointed.
I think so. I think often, you know, when you're playing against a team that's down to 14, 13, 12 men, you either absolutely destroy them or it can actually break your rhythm a little bit. And I think it was maybe the latter. And it's no excuse. We should have rinsed them more than we did. And in fact, there were times in that second half when we were camped on their line where I was like, this doesn't feel good, because if they get an intercept or something and there's 2 minutes to go and they can score and they can win and we lose this test match, like this is going to be, from a media perspective, this is going to be an absolute like laughing stock. Oh. But talking about the media, I mean, the Irish media, I mean, they've got to be the worst, Tucky, like worse than the English. There was nothing about the Springboks. It was all about one incident, Sasha. That was it. They forgot that Ryan should have been straight red carded and not bunker red carded. They forgot that O'Brien should have been yellow carded.
Yeah, as
and
well.
Somehow a mitigation was he got absolutely rinsed by Moody while trying to make a tackle. So that's a mitigation. You still made head contact trying to make a tackle. Like, that's a yellow card.
That looked worse than Sasha's.
Well, I mean, the funniest thing was that they were showing all the slow-mos and the crowd were like baying for blood. Meanwhile, they didn't realize what was being reviewed was their own player because he was so rinsed by Moody in that tackle. Or attempted
they thought
tackle.
that Moody should have got a yellow
Exactly.
card.
And they're like, no, guys, this is your guy.
Yeah, like, but also, I'm just looking at the score sheet here, and Sasha kicked one conversion of the 4 tries that we scored.
Yeah.
So, like, there's 6 points out there as well. So, 30-13, that is, at a test match level, that is an absolute hiding.
Especially in dub.
Yeah.
And I also think a little bit is lost. Like, a lot is being centered around the debate and talk around the scrum, obviously. But if you look at our tries, Tucky, like the first try, what a beautiful try. Damien Willemse, amazing finish in the corner. Yeah. Running try. What was it? The second try, Kobus Reinach, again, off the back of good, solid, go forward ball, gap try. Sasha's try, sick try.
Yeah.
Sit down, Gibson Park.
Yeah, like.
Bye-bye, Prendergast. Like another superb score by Sasha, and I know we'll get on to him. So it was really only the penalty try that was a forward-dominated try, and I know that the forwards create the platform and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, we scored some really nice tries in that game. So, yeah, I think that's got to be the game, the Springbok game of the Autumn Nations that will have, you know, it had everything. It had controversy, the ref, the physicality, all of those things, cards. Way too many cards in the game. We know that in general. But I think for me, that was the game. I mean, the France performance was probably the most complete, but we got the job done against Ireland. And I think given our recent record in Dublin, that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Let's touch on that France game quickly. Like, they were so fired up, obviously.
Baying for blood.
They were so fired up.
Especially the fans.
But you know what I think absolutely killed them was after they scored that early try, when Sasha kicked those 2 long-range penalties.
Yeah.
Then they've gone, holy shit, this guy can kick it from anywhere.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
Yeah, we're in big trouble. And I felt like, so they went out, they got out to that lead. Okay, so yeah, they got the converted try from Penot, and then it was 2 penalties from Sasha. Then they scored. Penot scored again. So what was that? 14-6, and then
12-6 maybe.
and then Reinach scores that chip and chase.
Yeah, what a try.
Hell of a try. Jeez, that oak is good.
What a try.
And then it just felt like they were just gone.
I think they maybe had the opportunity, scoreline-wise, to put some distance and put us under pressure to maybe start trying things that we ordinarily wouldn't. And they didn't take that chance. And, I mean, against South Africa at the moment, if you don't do that, you tickets. And look, the try that Reinach scored, amazing try. It was almost the catalyst for us to be like, okay, we've got these guys. You know, we're in here and we can win this. Gave us that confidence. It was a little bit of a similar start to that World Cup quarterfinal where they were out the gates just so fast, you know, playing off the intensity of the crowd who hate South Africa at the moment. French fans. Jeez. It's,
and I think, I can understand why.
Yeah, sort of. Looking forward to hosting them at some point, their C team when they travel here.
Ever.
But, I mean, just touching on the try, like, almost like Joos van der Westhuizen-esque, you know, make a break, chip over the top, recollect, playing the rugby of his life, that oak. Yes. Really is playing the rugby. He's bided his time as well.
Well, he's
been there and thereabouts for many, many, many years.
He's been playing international rugby since 2012, I think.
Which is insane.
And he got his 50th cap on Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's incredible.
He's been in and around squads for a long time. And great news for the Sharks that he didn't come back to us but went to the Stormers. Classic.
Playing the rugby of his life and he's gone to the Stormers.
But yeah, I think he's also been a big part of how settled we are. I think maybe in the last pod we spoke about what a great player Grant Williams is, but how when he has started, it's almost felt a little bit chaotic.
Yeah.
And Reinach has just settled that, which is great because then Grant Williams comes on with his pace and all of that and you know, Oaks are tired against him and just picks out, you know, the fatties and just runs around.
Just runs around though.
Which Reinach can do as well, by the way. But his kicking game is just so complete at the moment. And then we just buried them.
Yeah.
We absolutely buried the French.
I don't know, like, they just lost interest, eh?
And you could feel the crowd getting less involved. South Africa just got stronger and stronger. I mean, their last 20 minutes, it didn't feel like we were playing against France, in France, you know?
No, it was wild. But like, you look at all of the games, Springboks scored 222 points to 51 against. And you played France. I guess you played France and Ireland in those 2 matches.
For sure.
Take the 73 out of there.
I mean, you look at the other fixtures. There was no one that really played more than 2 good sides.
Yeah.
In their fixtures.
So
you can maybe argue the All Blacks. You know, they played England, Ireland, you know, you probably give it 2.5, you know, the 0.5 to Scotland, who had a real chance to beat them, by the way. I mean, they probably should have beaten them.
I think they probably did have the tougher run. Like, you can't, Italy can beat Scotland.
Look, Australia also had a tough run. They had to play England, they had to play France, they had to play Ireland.
Yeah, they had the toughest run.
So, but I mean, still, two big test matches. I mean, it's always nice playing England, let's be honest. And, I mean, you look at all the social media stuff. It's like, oh, England would have beaten South Africa. Should have, would have, could have, you know. Let's see what happens in 2026 because Yerks are coming.
Yeah.
Yerks are coming, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see if they bring a full strength side because that's, let's be honest, always the frustration is that the Southern Hemisphere always takes their strongest team to the North and competes. We don't always win. Usually we do. We don't always do, but we always compete. Whereas these oaks very rarely bring strong sides to the South. France, they are the worst.
They don't give a fuck.
They are absolutely criminal. Honestly, I think we should stop playing France in France.
Yes.
Until they start reciprocating.
You should give them
no one should play France. France should be playing like Romania and Uruguay.
Or they just play themselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what they want, actually. The top 14.
That's all they want to do is just play
They just want to play the top 14.
But I get you. But England will probably have to bring their
I hope
side.
so. I think with this new
With this Nations Championship
Nations series or whatever it is, I think you kind of have to, which is great. So we'll see. Hopefully. I mean, you want to see these Oaks testing themselves here as much as there, you know.
I'm sure Steve Borthwick wants to hold on to this unbeaten run that they're on at the moment, which apparently is like the greatest thing ever. The greatest thing ever that England are on, what, a 9-match unbeaten run. Well done.
Yes, they're an annoying team.
We're on an 8-match unbeaten run. Have we said a word? No.
Yeah.
Bastards. Anyway, so the one Oak that we must talk about, and he has been so influential, and I'll tell you right now, I believe that he'll be the best fly half we've ever produced in this country. Sasha Feinberg-Ngomezulu has now scored the most tries by a Springbok fly half ever.
In 19 tests.
In 19 matches for the Springboks. Mornay Steyn, this is just to put it into perspective for you. Mornay Steyn scored 8 tries in 68 tests, and Handré Pollard scored 8 tries in 85 tests. Sasha Feinberg-Ngomezulu scored 9 tries in 19 test matches. That is unbelievable. Now, just think about this. Having a fly half like that, something that we've never had before, just think about the dynamic change to the Springboks. We've added quite literally a new dimension to our game, to a ready game that can beat every team in the world. And now you've got a fly half who can take the ball to the line, who can run around guys, who can run through guys,
Distribute.
pass, kick.
Hand off.
He can do everything.
Yeah.
So just tell me, like, Hoff, how confident are you now in the Springboks with a guy like that running the show at 10?
Well, I think the timing could not be better, to be honest, to have a guy like Tony Brown enter the fray on the Springbok coaching staff and have Sasha as a 10 at the same time. I think for a guy like Tony Brown, he looks at it and he's like, you know, yes, this dominance and physicality is great, but where is like the sort of flash or the flair that can be built upon? And Sasha is that flash and flair. So like the timing is just perfect. And Sasha as a player, like you've said it there, he literally has it all. He has his vision is insane. I mean, that performance against Argentina in Durban was up there with some of the best Springbok performances ever, individually. I think if he was English, I think if he was French, guys would already be throwing out, you know, GOAT debates and that kind of stuff, like we've seen with Antoine Dupont, which doesn't make sense. Bearing in mind he's played like 16 seconds of rugby for France in the Southern Hemisphere and done nothing at a World Cup, apart from Namibia. Yeah. Sick try against Namibia, must be the GOAT. No. But I don't think it should be about GOAT discussions or anything like that now. It's about potential. And does he have the potential? I think that's absolutely abundantly clear. Yeah. Like, I can't believe he wasn't nominated for Player of the Year, to be honest. Like, how? I'm not entirely sure. Not necessarily that he would have won it, but, how could he not be nominated? I mean, the whole thing was he had a great year. He had a great breakthrough last year. And then it was like, okay, but we haven't seen him in the tougher, muddier, heavier, wet, cold conditions of the Northern Hemisphere. Well, we have now, and he was insane. He was absolutely insane. Made Sam Prendergast look like a little child. He ran rings around Roman Intermac.
Yeah.
In both those tries, in the Ireland test and the France test.
Literally ran rings.
He's got that spark. He's got that little bit of arrogance that I think superstars need. And usually we're seeing that in opposition players. And flip, it's nice to have a Springbok to have that irks the opposition. You know, maybe the only sort of negative is maybe his defense hasn't been tested out as much. I mean, I haven't seen any problem with his defense, to be honest. But maybe, you know, there's an argument that with the forward dominance that we have, it's easier to run and all of that. But I mean, he's been pretty damn good for the Stormers as well. Let's be honest. But for me, it's about potential, and he is doing more than fulfilling that potential at the moment. I mean, its second season is normally the season where everyone finds you out, and he's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
So it's so exciting watching that.
I know. Like you mentioned it, the arrogance, and I think that there is a bit of arrogance there, and I'm for it.
Yeah.
100%. Like I'm also, we spoke about Henry Pollock in the last one, and I'm also for that. Like, I'm also for his attitude. Like, I dig to see that. And
Love to hate.
it's awesome to have those characters in rugby. And I think that the best thing about Sasha is that he does not stand down. It doesn't matter who's in front of him. He's not standing down to anyone. And like, that's the confidence that he's got. And geez, to have that confidence in a fly half at that age, he's a completely different character. I'm not putting them in the same category at all, but I'm looking at what Dan Carter was like when he was young. He was confident. He wasn't like brash or bullish or anything like that. He was pretty understated.
Instinctive.
Yeah, but so good. And I can see that instinct in Sasha now at this age. It's just about him maturing into that player.
Staying injury free.
Yeah, that's a big thing as well.
I mean, and it's great because we've got a guy like Damian Willemse, who's also playing the rugby of his life at fullback, who's probably a bit wasted, at fullback with a 10 that is, more traditional. With Sasha, like, we're seeing a lot of Damian Willemse, which is great. We've got exciting wings. We've got Colby and, Moody and all of these. We've got such
Ethan
good
Hooker.
runners, Ethan Hooker. I mean, cheapers. What an Autumn Nation series he had as well. Big guy. I don't know if he's a wing or a center. I don't really care, to be honest.
Well, this was going to be my next thing. You remember that incredible All Black side of 2015? They could literally, Bowden Barrett would play fly half, wing, fullback. Like, he would play in any of those positions and he would be incredible. Ben Smith would play on the wing at fullback, like completely interchangeable, and nothing would change. Yeah. And I think that's what we've got in this side at the moment.
For sure.
Like, you look at Colby, Willemse, Hooker, Moody,
Orense.
Those are guys who can interchange. Well, okay, let's say Willemse, Hooker can interchange between 12, wing, and then Willemse can play fullback, 10. It's
Well, I mean,
incredible.
against Wales, we basically had 4 centers in our backline. We did. We had Moody playing on the wing. We had Hooker playing on the wing. We had Esterhuizen at 12, and we had Dielindy at 13. And Willemse at fullback. So we actually had 5 centers, potentially.
And Sasha can play center.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's exciting, really exciting times if you're a Bok fan. The opposition fans are obviously hating on us. You're going to be hated if you're top of the charts. And we haven't gone, a traditional route in getting there, and we have pissed people off, but that's fine. I don't think Rassie cares what other people think. He just wants the South African fans to be proud of the team and to be winning. Yeah, I mean, that's all that counts. Are we peaking now, halfway through the 4-year cycle to a World Cup? Time will tell, I guess. I think it's got nothing to do with peaking and everything to do with building depth. That's what he's doing. In every position, he's building depth.
Yeah. You look at the ages of guys. Okay. So like a guy like Eben is 34. Peter Steph-Toy is around the same age.
Yeah, there's definitely guys
Sears
filtering out.
You know what I mean? So like, these are guys that, and Rassie will know that these guys could potentially make the next World Cup, but he has to make sure that he has plans in place in case they don't. Like, in case there's another long-term injury to someone.
Yeah.
So, and that's what he's doing. He's making sure that we have got enough depth in every position, especially behind
every single position,
especially behind those big name guys.
Yeah. I mean, there were props that I was like learning about for the first time that were drilling the Irish and drilling the French, It's really, really, really impressive. Yeah. I mean, this has got to be the best time to be a Springbok fan,
ever.
And I think that's why that Ellis Park game against Australia was so disappointing. Like, we could have won 50-0 and we ended up losing badly, And that's a real stain on the year. Mm. But, jeepers, it's been a good year.
Yeah.
Apart from that.
Yeah, because then you think about it. A game against the Wallabies at Ellis Park, you win 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
And then we would have finished the year with 1 loss to the All Blacks at Eden Park.
Mm.
Like, that's going to happen.
But I mean, you look at all of these like debates and that between who's greater, the current Springboks or the 2015 All Blacks, who's greater, Rassie Erasmus or Steve Hansen. And, I think if you look at stats, it'll always be the All Blacks. It'll always be Steve Hansen. But if you look at trophies, it's Rassie, Like I saw that not the rugby player Ben Smith calls himself a journalist.
God's truth.
I mean, he's just a clickbait anti, Springbok guy. But, he put up the stats of Steve Hansen and Rassie, and obviously Steve Hansen's results were better. But Rassie has 2 World Cups, So I guess at the end of the day, as a fan, do you want to be staring at your TV looking at your head coach's stats? Or would you rather be staring at your TV looking at Sia raising the William Webb Ellis? I know what I would rather do.
Yeah, I don't give a shit if they've won 11 Freedom Cups.
Exactly. You can win in between. Can you win at the World Cup?
Yeah.
And he's shown that he can, irrespective of what happens in 2027. It would be really nice to get 3 in a row, though.
Imagine he goes the 3-peat.
I mean, it's possible. It really is. It's more than possible. But we also don't want to get ahead of ourselves, like the Irish, where, you're shaking hands and saying, see you in the final, and you don't get past the quarterfinal.
So
My perfect 2027, Tucky, will be a Springbok World Cup win and Ireland going out in the quarterfinal.
Again, he beat Ireland in the quarterfinals.
Come on.
I would take that any day of the week. Malcolm Marx was named World Player of the Year. And I must be completely honest with you. I thought Malcolm Marx's career was sort of on the sort of
waning.
Slide. Wasn't being picked, was sort of always on the bench. And I guess that was probably, I don't want to sound sort of conspiracy theorist, but maybe that was Rassie's plan. Give him a couple of years where he's just going to come off the bench and then he's going to fire. He's only 31 years old. So he's definitely got another World Cup.
He's a beast.
He is playing the best rugby I've ever. And remember back in before the 2019 World Cup, I was like, because he was also nominated, I think, in 2018. And I thought, Jesus, he's the best hooker in the world. And now he's taken his game to another level.
Yeah. No, he's been incredible. I think overall for his last few years' performances and that, I think he deserves it. Personally, I would love to have seen Oxenchair win that award.
Yeah.
First prop to be nominated. It would have been amazing for
and
first prop to win it.
And he deserved it last year. He should have won it last year.
100%.
Although
look, I mean, between all of them. I mean, it's really lovely to have a Springbok winning it and winning it again. But personally, I would have loved to have seen Ox. But yeah, I think Malcolm Marx is very much a worthy winner, a deserved winner. And he was flawless on that interview tour. He really was. I'm with you. I thought he struggled a little bit at the beginning of the year when South Africa went through that dip, with Australia. And even the next performance in Cape Town, we won it, but we weren't at our best. But they all turned it around, and he was very much central to that. So yeah, I think he's a deserved win.
Absolutely. Good on him. And yeah, as I said, he can definitely make it to the next World Cup. And playing in Japan, those seem to stay fitter than most. So
yeah,
that's awesome. So another big deal. We're going to have to get this pod out ASAP because on Wednesday is the Rugby World Cup pool draw. In 2027 in Australia, there are going to be 24 teams at the Rugby World Cup. Firstly, Hoff, what are your thoughts on a 24-team Rugby World Cup?
I think I quite like it. What I don't like about this Rugby World Cup is, for me, the pool stage of a Rugby World Cup is top 2 go through. That's what it should be. So whatever structure needs to be put in place for the top 2 to go through, that's what it should be. And this one is kind of like, I think there's 3 third places, maybe even 4 that go through. And I'm like, that's a cop out. So I don't like the third place go through element of it. But I do like the more simplistic, 4-man pools or 4-team pools. Going back to sort of 95 World Cup sort of structure. But I just don't like that third place thing. If you're losing a game, it should be do or die. Finish second, go through. Don't finish second, you tickets.
Yeah, so now it's going to be a case of how many points do we need, and our points different. Well, I don't know how they're going to judge it, but
I think the bands is good because you make sure that your top tier teams are all clear of each other in the pool stages. You can still get a band 2 team who's in band 2 here.
You see, okay, let's go through it. So
Australia,
band 1, Springboks, All Blacks, England, Ireland, France, Argentina. Okay, so then those will be the tops of your respective pools. And then tier 2 is Australia, Fiji, Scotland, Italy, Wales, Japan. 3, Georgia, Uruguay, Spain, the USA, Chile, Tonga. 4 is Samoa, Portugal, Romania, Hong Kong, Zimbabwe, and Canada. But now, Hoff, let's think about this though. There's been a bit of okay, we're still a while out, but it feels like there's a shift. And that top 6 is definitely, okay, Australia could produce an upset, but I believe that top 6 has separated themselves from the
rest.
From band 2.
Look, I agree. I think, as you say, Australia is really the dark horse there. It depends on this new coach and what he does. You also got to remember that it's in Australia. Oh. So they'll have the home support. So I think out of everyone, you don't want Australia. That will be
Australia. The pool of death, yeah.
But everyone else, I don't think is too much of a problem. Maybe Scotland, again, we give them a 0.5.
Yeah, that's all they get.
They're never that strong at World Cups. Fiji can be a banana skin. Italy can be a banana skin, but I just don't think so, So I think it's the kind of tournament where the knockouts, which is what it should be, will be where the big nations start, clashing. And that's great. That's a real build up. That's what you want.
You'll need to beat, you'll have to beat, for example, if the Springboks will have to play, Australia, potentially.
Yeah.
Australia, England, Ireland, because they play 3 knockouts. There's a round of 16 quarterfinal.
Oh, there's a round of 16 as well.
So there's an extra knockout round.
Okay. So it'll probably only start really hotting up quarterfinal, semi-final.
That's where it usually does.
Yeah.
So your round of 16 match, you should be able to get through. So it's just a case of now, Australia have already been drawn in Pool A because they're the host. So now it's who from Band 1 is going to be in Pool A, because that'll be the most difficult pool.
Yeah,
just to finish top on, because there's no threat to not making it. If you know what I mean.
Look, Band 3 and 4 is pretty average.
Georgia's probably the only team that potentially might give someone a run, but they'll only be giving Band 2 teams a run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, bit of a strange one, actually, if you start doing the maths and what could be and that. So, yeah, just don't get Australia.
Yeah, that's all you got to avoid, I think, at the end of the day, is just avoiding Australia. As you said, Fiji are always tough at a World Cup, but we know how to beat Fiji at a World Cup. Remember, back in 2007, they put us under huge pressure, and then JP had to score that try in the corner, and we managed to just get past them.
Yeah, that was a tough watch.
Scotland are not an issue at World Cup. Wales used to be an issue for us at World Cups.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. They're not an issue for anyone. Japan, I don't think are an issue at World Cups anymore. I don't think.
Unless you're playing in Brighton. Unless you're playing in Brighton and Hanneke Meyer returns as Springbok coach. I think we're fine.
But yeah, I think it's pretty much a formality for the Springboks getting into that quarterfinal. And then, yeah, as you said, that's where it all hots up faster than a junkie spoon.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to the draw. I wouldn't mind a draw that's less of a draw and more of okay, you number 1, you get 13. You number 2, you get 12. That would make it a lot easier for us.
But then our neighbors, Zimbabwe, we don't have 2 neighbors at the next World Cup. Namibia didn't make it, but it's awesome to see Zim there.
100%. What's their last one that they made? 1991?
I think so, yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool.
So Hilton Madariki, shout out if you listen. My class boy, he captains the Zimbabwe side. And they've got, do you remember Ian Pryor from the Western Force?
Yeah.
Playing fly half for them.
Okay.
And he is a really important part of getting them to the World Cup. So it's awesome to have a team like that. But then I saw, when I was doing this, I was like, Hong Kong? Are you joking? Moses Bailey played rugby.
I was about to say, do you think Moses Bailey is going to make it to the World Cup?
Coming out of retirement just so he can make it to the World Cup. But that is incredible that Hong Kong are going to be at the World Cup.
No, there's some cool names there. And I think another team that usually does pretty well there, certainly punches above their weight, is Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd probably be a bit disappointed that they're in Band 3, to be honest. I mean, they must be super disappointed that they're not part of a major tournament.
I would say that they're better than Japan.
I think so. They might be better than Wales at the moment, I mean, they have a strong case for a promotion relegation situation in the Six Nations.
Yeah, but unfortunately that's not going to happen.
I mean, Italy have been average for how long?
No one wants to go to Tbilisi to play Georgia in a
Isn't that the
Saturday.
thing,
Saturday night in February.
Isn't that the thing? Go and play in -25 in Tbilisi,
Yes, I would not be going. That's for sure. I'll be getting injured. But so Chile they're going to their first World Cup, Rugby World Cup, I think it is. The USA back. Spain, after they qualified but then got disqualified.
Did they?
From the 2023 World Cup.
Oh, yes.
I think they qualified and they got disqualified. They always one of the sides. Like Samoa are the team that seem to have fallen off a bit of a cliff. You know what I mean?
I think the Pacific nations in general, maybe excluding Fiji, they seem to be doing well. Like, I also feel sorry for them. I mean, let's be honest, most of their players wear black. They wear the All Blacks shirts.
Yeah, they all just piss off.
You know, so, like, it is a bit unfair on them. Look, I know monetary-wise, and it's probably a discussion for another day around World Rugby, but monetary-wise, it probably doesn't make sense. But I really think Tier 1 nations should have to play Tier 2 nations away from home as part of their tours. I mean, can you imagine how sick it would be for, like, the Fijians or the Samoans if the Springboks came and played a home game in Fiji?
Yeah.
You know? Or something like that. I think that would be awesome, but obviously you probably don't get any money for it for World Rugby.
No, you get bugger all. And that's all it is these days. It's all about the money. Scotland went to Fiji because I think that no one wanted to play them. So they were like, shit, we better find a game somewhere. So they flew to Fiji to go and play. But we're going to sort of get towards the end here, and we're going to do our Shark segment. The last time we spoke, they hadn't played. They played on Saturday. They played in Galway against Connacht, and they got a hiding. I must be honest, I did not watch the game. It was too late for me.
It was very
on
late.
Saturday. Now, I'm actually very glad that I didn't.
Yeah.
Because that, from what I've seen, is just diabolical.
Yeah, Tucky, it's so disappointing because all of this always happens on this first tour that we seem to go on at the beginning of the season every year. Well, the beginning of the URC season anyway. And it just sets up so badly because now, you know, you look at some of the home games that are coming, and I think we're playing Saracens at home, I think.
Yep.
Which is supposed to be this big game.
Got Toulouse.
You know, you almost like, do I want to go to that now? Because, you know, we're struggling to beat the Dragons and Connachts and all of that. So, yeah, look, it's, where's it heading? I don't know. Where's this head coach thing heading? I'm not sure. It's, it's a bit of a Galacticos mess, to be honest.
So we did have a message from our fearless leader, T-Bag. His take is, I quote, I believe the Sharks need to get rid of 30% of their stars. And I would assume by stars he means our Springbok contracted players. The ones that we lose for all those weeks and then have to be rested for another 9 weeks of the year. And the problem is that the guys that are playing now, we don't have our stars at the moment. And the guys that are playing now aren't the Oaks.
Yeah, and you're kind of like, how long does this go on for? You know, before you start. You can't change your players, but you can change the coach. And I guess they are going to be doing that, but maybe like a little bit too little too late, you know. But, you know, it's, I've got to make a comparison to my beloved Liverpool team here, Tucky. You know, it's not been going very well after it went extremely well, and everyone started blaming, you know, signing Isak and signing Wirtz and all that kind of stuff. And then Isak and Wirtz weren't in the team and we were still cuck. So, you know, maybe these last few games shows that it's a bigger problem than just, you know, buying the stars and blaming it all on the Springboks. I mean, at least 8% of our Springboks is not going to be available because Etzebeth's going to have like a 10-month ban. So T-Bag might have his wish in a way there, but yeah, who knows what the issues are, Tucky?
You know what? I think that the issues run far deeper than just
players
playing personnel.
Yeah.
And I think that it runs really deep into administrative issues,
organizational structure,
and happiness of general people in the building and the players. So, yeah, there's a lot that needs to be fixed. And unfortunately, and we can say this already, we only 3 months into the season, 4 months into the season, we can say that the season's over. And now we sort of, what do we do now? Do we just not worry about where we finish in the URC? Do we just give guys experience now?
And I think that's where there's like a genuine issue with the structure of rugby at the moment, is that you can be a couple of months into a season and make that statement. Whereas if there was relegation, you'd be going, no, come on.
There's so much to fight for.
There's something to play for here. You know, it goes back to like when it was Super Rugby and there were like 500,000 teams. You know, you didn't want to get up and watch the Melbourne Rebels versus the Western Force in week 72 of Super Rugby of that year because it was so boring and there was nothing on the line.
The Sunwolves.
And, that's kind of where it is now for us, is to go like, okay, well, let's just start building for the next season because there's nothing to get out of it, So it is a bit sad, where to from here? Cheapers.
Yeah.
Anybody's guess.
So my thing is that, okay, I say that there's nothing to play for. There's obviously, if you finish in the top 8, then you're in the Champions Cup. So there is that to play for. My thing is that, is playing in the Champions Cup that important?
Well, clearly not to SA Rugby, because you look at the teams that we put out, we never put out our strongest teams for the Champions Cup. So there's this misalignment between the importance of the Champions Cup for Northern Hemisphere sides and the importance of the Champions Cup for Southern Hemisphere sides, where clearly it's the be all and end all for them, and it's absolutely nothing for us, which is really not cool, because that should be the pinnacle event. URC should be the Currie Cup, and the Champions Cup should be what Super Rugby was, what Super 12, Super 14 was. And it's just not. Yeah, it's this weird one where like Springbok Rugby is at its highest high, and they have the biggest support possible, and the domestic game's kind of like, And you look at the Stormers, they're doing well. Do we really care? Like, I don't care about the Stormers.
You're so right. There's such a big gap now between the Springboks and your club sides.
Yeah.
And the significance of Springbok results is so important, but people actually look at you watch the Sharks and if they lose, you go, well, okay. They've got to play another 750 games this season anyway, so we'll win one.
Compared to between 15 and 20 years ago, where if the Sharks lost to the Bulls, you were mourning for 2 weeks. It meant everything. And I guess that's the sad thing now, is that it means nothing.
Yeah. So if you look at it, look at back then, remember. So you played Super 14, you played 13 games in the season.
Plus knockouts if you make.
Yeah. Plus, okay. So the knockouts were obviously
semi-final.
Yeah. So in the URC, you play 15 games. In the Champions Cup, you play 4 games. So you're already up to like 20 games.
Yeah.
And that's before you've even played
plus Currie Cup on top of that.
Yeah. They're playing so many domestic games. People don't understand what's going on because people don't understand the structure.
Supply and demand, Tucky. Simple economics here.
So then what do we do? Do we leave the Champions Cup and the EPCR? Do we just say, because we don't have, SA Rugby, as far as I'm aware, doesn't have any vested interest in the EPCR.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So we're not gaining anything by our teams playing.
Personally, and maybe other people would view this as a step back, personally, I would love the Currie Cup to be our premier domestic competition again, where Super Rugby is not a continuous competition. It's what the Heineken Cup used to be. So you play Currie Cup week to week, and then you have Super Rugby weekends in pools. So you have pools of 4. You either make it out of your pool or you don't. But it's not every weekend. So it's only every now and then. That should be your continental competition. So you play Currie Cup as your domestic, and Super Rugby is your continental competition. That's it. Not this whole 72-week event because Australia don't have their own domestic competition. No, that's your premium event. That's your top event. And then Currie Cup is your day-to-day. And Currie Cup is a refined, not home and away thing. So the guys don't play as much rugby, but it brings that derby situation back without overdoing it. Whereas now you got URC, you got Currie Cup, you got Champions Cup. How many times did we play the Bulls now? And we go back to Southern Hemisphere kind of thing. I think that would be great. Alternatively, you do it with the Currie Cup and the Champions Cup. The URC is what is it? Is it a domestic thing? Is it a continental? What the hell is it? And I think it is improving. There's no doubt. The URC is definitely better than when we first joined it, but I still don't understand its place, its relevance. That's the issue.
Yeah. So the URC is our Super Rugby competition. That's what it's replaced.
But it's meant to, but it's not, because it doesn't have the French and English teams. It's super confusing.
So my thing is, we go back to the Southern Hemisphere. We come back to the Southern Hemisphere. The only people that it's benefiting is New Zealand.
Yeah.
That's why we left in the first place.
Well, I think we left because they were trying to force us to do, we were the biggest contributor financially, and they were trying to get us to do things we didn't want. So I think we were like, fuck yokes, which was right. And Australia made some bad calls. I mean, everyone made bad calls. Super 14 was as good as it's going to get. That was phenomenal, in terms of the number of games, how long the season was, the playoffs. By the end, you needed a calculator like, okay, we're below the Highlanders, but because we are in a conference, they've got more points than us, but it was stupid.
Yeah.
It was absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
So my thing is, whatever your continental competition is, I think should be the pinnacle. And I would just love the Currie Cup to have importance again, because growing up, that was it. That was great. And now the Currie Cup is like just a talent sort of scouting thing, which is great, but no one really watches it until the end stages.
Yeah. Yeah. Like my thing too, like there's no way that the URC can expand, let's say, into a competition where you have a top 10 and a bottom 10.
Yeah.
Like you can't expand anymore. You don't have any more regions.
Perhaps.
You don't have any more provinces and islands.
So what they should do if we stay in URC is you don't play Champions Cup. You play URC, and the top 3 then play the top 3 in England, play the top 3 in France, play the top 3 in Super Rugby, and you have one big trophy.
Yeah, but like that's the thing.
Practically, it's not going to work.
The French love the Champions Cup and too much.
Yeah. Well, it gives them the right to call their scrum off the greatest of all time.
They think that like when they win the Champions Cup or the Heineken Cup every year, they think that they're the best. That's it. But I think looking back, would you say that it was a successful year for the Springboks? Obviously, results-wise, it was. Do you think that we're in a better place now than we were this stage last year?
Definitely. I think it was a great year for us. Beating France in France, beating Ireland in Dublin, and absolutely whacking the All Blacks in Wellington. Just those three results. And the manner in which we did it has to make it a success. So, yeah, I think we're in a great place. It's going to be an interesting year next year with the different competitions and, England coming and all of that kind of stuff. So, it's going to be nice to see some hopefully strong Northern Hemisphere teams come and test themselves here in South Africa.
Well, yeah, we can only hope. We've got England first up here, which is going to be a cracker, I think. Arguably the 2 best teams in the world at the moment. I think that we can safely say that England are probably second.
Yeah.
I know that they think that they're number 1.
No, they're
at the moment, but I think that they can.
They're definitely second, and I look forward to Peter Steff breaking Henry Pollock's ribs.
Oh, yes.
He'll find it difficult to clap a scrum penalty after that, and hopefully George Ford is still at 10 for them, because it'll be nice to see him on the back of a forward pack going backwards.
Yes. I'm going to finish it. I just want to give a shout out to our fearless leader, coach of the Springboks, Rassie Erasmus. Man, got his first win in Ireland. So now he has won
everywhere
in every country that he has coached the Springboks in. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that Eden Park win, but we might have to wait another 15 years until we get another crack at that. But that's going to be the end of this one. We'll be back with a bit of golf stuff, I'm sure, very, very soon before the end of the year. But thanks very much for listening, guys. Thanks, Hoff. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Tucky.